Okay.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 4:03 p.m. on April 17th. Thank you guys for all being here. I think we are good with our regular members, so I don't think we need to elevate anybody, but thank you all for being here. I just got off a call with Deep, and I kind of harassed them, as Eric will probably tell you.
You did a very good job.
Got some answers to our questions, so that was good. All right, so approval of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes that Bill Watts so adequately did for April 10th?
I move that we.
Okay, Ken makes that motion, and can I have a second?
Second.
Yes. Okay, Eric, and all those in favor? Aye.
Right.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent. Any public comment? I don't think we have any public members of the public right now. So that's moving on. Survey update. We are up to 95 people have submitted.
Oh, that's great.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's great.
it is good. I would like to see more, but the biggest problem we have right now is that we don't have enough screenshots, because I had to take away the ability to upload, because making it accessible to everybody who's not on Gmail. We actually do not have a single location that has everything we need of 3 screenshots, 3 different days, and the bill. So I tried to send out like an email through the new Gmail account I created, and unfortunately for some reason I was being blocked. So I'm having to do it individually. So I did go through and divide up everybody that we've received and put them in the spreadsheet by northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast, because that's literally how it kind of divides with the census block groups. So I think probably if I could get a few people to help me and reach out to these people, and I've got the directions all written out, what they need to do. It's just tedious because I apparently need to do it individually. I can't figure out why I'm not able to send like 10 people at a time, but it's not allowing that. And here's some things that I've learned in the last few days. It doesn't matter if we don't have the date and time on the screenshot, because we can include that information in the CSV file. I just asked at the webinar if we could do the same thing with the IP address, because Steve created this lovely video with the cell phone,
Right.
but unfortunately it's not permissible to do cell phone.
You can't use your cell phone?
No, you can't use your cell phone. You have to use a laptop or desktop computer, which Jonathan found reading carefully through the guide.
Well, whoa, really?
Yeah, I just confirmed that. So unfortunately, I sent out some information saying that it was okay to use your cell phone. So
Okay.
All speed
Good.
tests have to be done on a computer.
yeah,
Whoa.
And can we still use Ookla?
yes,
Yes,
but we need to use the browser version on a desktop or a laptop.
So we need to change that instruction.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to do that. And I didn't really want to ask Steve to do it again.
you did a hell of a job.
He did.
Yeah.
It's really well done. But we are getting people responding. So, I mean, the people who have managed to do it they don't seem to have any qualms about doing it for 2 more times and getting the bill. So I am slowly getting in the data that we need. We had another wrinkle because one of the pieces of evidence is the reason why they asked for the the bill is because you need to see what, like, for instance, Spectrum says that they're going to provide. Well, unfortunately, Spectrum has chosen not to put that information on their bill.
Right.
You just have it as Spectrum Internet. And they're required by law to do what they call a broadband fax label, which kind of looks like a nutrition label. And in that little graphic, they have to tell what they're providing. But Spectrum has weirdly, they've put conflicting information on their broadband fax label. So I've asked them to, at Deep, to please help me because I don't know how to do this. But they did, Jonathan, they did tell me just a few minutes ago that if we were to do what you were doing, like pretending to be somebody
Yeah.
as a new user, and
Yeah.
if you captured that information, that is usable evidence. And so I did that for my own location, and it said that they are supposed to be providing me 300 download and 10 upload. So they're not even saying that they'll make the minimum on the upload.
So I have a question related to that, and maybe this brings up a point we've talked about a few times, and apologies if we've dispensed with it, but we'd said the basic plan has to have the speed, the minimum upload speed. And if we have evidence showing that the basic plan does not, do we have to go through this whole exercise? Can't we just show, here's the basic plan, it doesn't have it?
That's smart.
But they are required to give us 20. That's the standard service.
Yep, and they're not. And so
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if
whatever
they're saying it
label
in
shows
their
that they're
own
not.
words that they're not giving it to us, then
Well, the wording is 10 or higher.
Right. 10 or higher?
Yeah, I think that's
But I thought that's underserved.
exactly. I don't know. I mean, I brought this up to Deep and they haven't given a good answer. And I'll ask them again to find out the answer to this, because otherwise this is,
Yeah, I mean, this is
they've got it. I mean,
it's very difficult for us to do our job unless we have this basic information. I
yeah.
mean,
My thought is that this minimum of 20 is something that the feds came up with, but you know, maybe it's relatively new and they didn't gear the system to meet that when they set it all up for us.
I think at the end of the day, the burden of proof is on us to show they're not providing the minimum upload, is what Deep has said on these calls. I think of the 3 plans that I found, Lynn, that were the generic plans. One has that 10 or higher, and the other 2 more expensive do say 20. Whether they're providing or not is another matter.
and when I
well-
go to, my Spectrum site and sign into my account and look for the details of my plan, it tells me what my download speed is, but it doesn't tell me what my upload speed is in the plan.
Oh, you gotta love it.
But we were told somewhere legally they have to tell you.
I know, but that's what
I know, Ken, it's going to shock you that I'm making it easy for you.
So I think it's relatively easy if we can get, 8 people in each of our quadrants to comply and submit the screen tests and submit a bill. And then I don't even think they have to submit the bill. We could submit, I mean, they would have to submit the bill, but I think we could actually submit the broadband fax label on their behalf, because we just have to plug in their address and do it. I'm hoping doing it as a PDF. So, So it doesn't seem that daunting to me.
Yeah, I
Um,
think as long as we can get them through correspondence to tell us what their download speed is, we know what plan they are because I think there's only 3 in town. So
Oh,
that's our key. So if Ken, for example, tells us he's 300, he's the middle plan of the 3 options. I think there's only at least for a new client, there's only 3 plans they offer.
okay. Yeah. The one thing I'm not quite sure how to deal with is the DSL customers. I don't quite, like Steve pointed out that some of those people are, I guess we just go through the same process with them and get their screenshots. And even though DSL can't actually meet the speeds, we have to provide the evidence in the same way, right? Does that make sense?
I would offer an alternative potentially, see what people think. I think the first thing we should do is reference the bead map and see if that site is served by Charter and
Oh,
what speeds they
good
provide.
point.
So that if
Yes, and
they have that
that is,
alternative, we go back to our main goal, which is to challenge Charter, and what service levels they're providing. Because I think that when I looked at the map, and Lynn, you and I have spent way too much time on this map, this juncture, there's not that many locations that appear likely to be using DSL as their primary service. Are you a lot of emails with DSL?
there's a handful and their numbers are very low.
Right. If you can, I'm happy to go through and check all those if
But your
locations.
point is right that they, so this one, see, DSL is not even an option that shows up on here. Let me share my screen so you guys can see what I'm seeing.
Sure.
And just to go back to one point, Jonathan, that you made, does it make sense for me to connect with the Charter representative again and say, here's the standard, it's supposed to be the basic plan upload speed, not the one that she referenced, and see how they react?
I think that might actually make sense to say our understanding is this is the broadband fax label that you are required to provide. And we don't understand why you're saying it's only 10 when it should be 20. Isn't that the question to ask?
Yeah.
Interesting one.
Yeah, and that's the part I've been trying to be sure about, is that the plan should have speed at 20 versus available at some.
Aled, you're kind of breaking up. It's hard to hear you. So this is an address where the person has told us they have DSL. But on the map, it says they're served. And it says, yeah, so it's available to have Charter,
Yeah.
but they're choosing not to have Charter.
This may sound like an unpopular statement. I can understand why the person who went through this effort would feel so, but if we have time, we should absolutely, I think, document everything we can. But I think since they are served by Charter, we're going to revert back to, is Charter providing the minimum service necessary?
Right. And since they don't use Charter, there's no way to prove. Yeah.
DSL is provided by whom?
Frontier.
Frontier.
There's actually not a lot of coverage for the broad town of Kent, actually, from what we could tell from the map.
Well, I don't, because we're going to be doing these area challenges, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think we've got enough we've got enough already if we got everybody, even a percentage of the ones that have submitted so far will be good.
Lynn,
Lynn, did you, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah.
I was just wondering if there were paper surveys that we need to be entering into things. I haven't received any back.
I didn't check with Joyce to see if she got
Okay.
any. I did drop them off at Templeton. And
Okay,
then I got a couple of online surveys, so.
okay,
Maybe people
Okay.
are using online.
sorry.
I was just going to say, Lynn, that one slight alternative to my previous comment could be to respond to all DSL clients who are supposedly are served by charter and asking, have you sought to get charter? Why don't you have it? You know, they may be someone who is marked as served by charter when in fact they're not.
Okay, that's a good point. All right. Good point. Okay. So is there anybody who's willing to help with this task of, because I can definitely deal with one quadrant, and then if there are 3 other people that could deal with the other quadrants, I think we could knock it off pretty fast.
Well, I'll be glad to help with another quadrant, but before we do that, I think we need a set of instructions that we can give the people. So I don't feel comfortable calling someone up on the phone and telling them to do something and then explaining, well, I'm gonna have to manually verbally walk you through this, or send them something that is incorrect, and then all of a sudden it just frustrates them more.
Yeah, I'll try to get that done today.
Lynn, I'm happy to help with a quadrant.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan.
I would, but I'm gonna be out of town all next week
Okay.
and really not available for this type of a project,
Okay.
regretfully.
You know,
I may be able to help if I have a list of people to hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to give us a list with telephone numbers and email addresses,
No,
right?
we didn't we didn't deal with telephone numbers. That was probably an oversight, but we do have email. And it would be best if you guys would be willing to log into that, the Gmail account that I set up, because then all the data, all the
Responses.
things are going to the same place.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to track them down from you guys.
One thing I would suggest to Lynn, to you, to Ken, to Sarah, to me, whoever's emailing is, as we go back and forth, really note if someone's very keen and willing to help, I would note that. Why am I making that point? We really want to get to 6 to 8 per sector. My guess will probably try for 20 or 25 per sector, and half of them won't be that responsive. And so we may end up in, I won't say panic mode, but let's just say press for time, and need to know who we can focus on, who is really keen to help us.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. We could just ask them, would you be willing to walk next door to your neighbor and ask them to participate?
Well, I think we've actually gotten enough people that have responded to the survey. It's just the matter of making sure we've got 6 to 8 that have all the data. Because if you don't have 3 screenshots in a bill, you can't submit the challenge. It's like,
Right.
so.
And Lynn, when you say 6 to 8 people who you think may not be meeting the service level,
Mhm.
And that's in each quadrant. So that's, this may have been discussed at the last meeting and I'm sorry I wasn't there. So basically what you're saying is if we have 6 to 8 people in each quadrant that are we have all their information and it shows that it's inadequate, we're good.
We're good. And it actually automatically triggers, triggers the challenge.
Challenge.
We don't
Okay.
have to do each,
Every
you
single
know, we don't
person,
have to
yeah.
do all the people that are set up in that
Okay.
census.
Great.
plot
Yeah,
group.
6 to 8 is absolutely doable.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then I'll call you later on the week and you can help me get into your Gmail account so that I can do it right.
Yeah, I'll just send you guys the login information.
Okay. So you've got a login ID and a password.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be pretty easy. And I can, I guess to make it easy on you guys, I'll just, I'll divide up and give you, Ken, could you handle doing Google Sheets? And it's just like Microsoft, but it's on Google in terms of like a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I can try it. Yeah.
Okay. I can also give it to you both ways so you can look at it
Okay.
as an Excel file. I'll just divide up the sections and then give you each a section. That'll probably be the easiest way to do
Yeah.
it. So
But can you give us sections that are, for instance, if I got one that was in the same quadrant that I live in,
yep, I could do that.
then that's going to be helpful because that means most of the people I call, they'll know who I am, or
Yeah.
at least I can say I'm your neighbor.
That won't work for Jonathan, me, and Sarah because we're all in the same quadrant.
Okay.
Are?
Yes.
I can call Dan Murray all weekend.
You can give me a weird quadrant. I know people. We're good.
You know, I mean, that's what I found when I respond to people. At first, I wasn't including my name at the bottom, but then when I started putting my name, they're like, "Oh, it's Lynn. Okay, I can help Lynn out." So,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
The big problem though with Sarah and I is when people see our numbers on the screen, they think we're calling them, asking them for money. So
Possible.
they don't answer.
It's possible. There was one point in my life when I could have been asking for the nursery school, the library, Marvelwood, the church, and like one other thing. It was absolutely insane. Everyone just shut their doors when I walked over.
But
Your
when I
number's
walk
probably
by them on the
blocked.
street, they cross the street.
Seriously.
All right. What else did I want to tell you?
We don't have to put all that in the minutes, do we?
No, my minutes are always very brief. I say a discussion was had.
And the information they told us about needing to do the screen test at 3 different times was not accurate. So it doesn't matter, just as long as you record the date and the time. It doesn't matter what time
So
of
we
day.
can do 3 screen tests within minutes of each other?
No, they have to be on different days.
Different days.
Different days,
yeah.
but it doesn't matter what time of day.
But no, yeah, all right, no time
So
restriction.
today's the 17th. Does that mean we have to get all this done before the end of the week?
No, we set that as a deadline for the town, just so we would be able to have time to do this part.
I
You know,
see.
so you can tell people they have more time. Because obviously if you tell them, oh, we've got one good screenshot from you right now, but we need 2 more. It's kind of hard to do by Saturday. But
So for example, Lynn, I sent my screenshot from my house, but it was on my phone. So that doesn't count.
right, you have
Right.
to redo it.
Okay, so is that true for some of this, a lot of the data
Yeah.
that you have, that it's phones and not computers?
I don't know about a lot, but there are definitely some. The main problem is I haven't gotten a lot. There's a lot of people that I never got a screenshot from.
Okay,
So that's a bigger problem.
but they gave you their speeds.
Yes, they put the
Interesting.
speeds in. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. But it
Great.
was once, yeah, they didn't take the time to send the email.
Okay.
I think that's about it. Is there anything that you guys have questions about? Is there anything, Eric, that you
Yeah,
think
one of the
anything
things
more
that,
we should talk about from that thing we just went to?
well, one of the things that I thought was interesting was the possibility of a 10-day extension,
Oh, yeah, that was kind of interesting.
which they weren't, all they said it was a possibility because they have a hard stop on 120 days for the full timeline of the project. So I thought that was interesting, and they said they would notify everybody immediately if there was the extension. The other thing I thought, Wendy Rigo, she seemed to be a pretty helpful person. Have we, I didn't know, have we been in touch with her, Lynn?
No, so Wendy's with CEN, Sarah.
Right,
And
Yes.
I asked they are doing challenges. And I asked the question, well, do we need to do challenges for our community? I'm not locking on that. So our community
CIA.
organization, CIA or whatever it is, CAA.
Like the
Um,
government people that you see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the library and Ken School, because they're both listed and they're both listed as unserved. And if they're doing it, why do we need to do it? And they kind of said, well, no, we only need one. So I was gonna follow up with the CEN
I
representative.
took Wendy's phone number if that's of any help.
Yeah, if you want it, so I went to their website to try and figure out how many locations are being served by CEN, and I couldn't figure it out.
Okay, I could,
So
you know,
if- Eric, if you
tried
wanted to
look.
reach out to her and just find out, other than the library and Kent School, what are the other locations? And
She
can
said Marblewood was not served because
No way. It's too far.
too
Fiber.
far.
Yeah.
And Kent School,
So I don't know if Kent Center School is on there though.
see, I didn't ask about Kent Center, I forgot.
Yeah, because I know,
Probably
I think
not.
our line comes from Kent School, but not Kent Center School. And then as far as I know, our line goes directly to Warren School.
And like South Kent is not listed. And I don't think they've ever been served by CEN either.
Right, so Kent Center would be the question, and I know the town has been trying to get on CEN.
But I don't think that's all come together yet.
Mm-mm.
So
so I was writing down, so you want, I can call Wendy and ask her who is, on the list of not being served?
no, who are
Oh, who
the
are being
CE
served, sorry.
who are the CEN locations? And will they take care of those in Kent so we don't have to worry about it?
Well, I
Okay,
can tell you, I mean, our speed is bananas, like so good.
I know, but the problem is it's listed on the map that we're using, the challenge map, as
Yeah.
unserved.
Well, okay,
In
And
fact,
they told us originally, Deep told us originally, oh, you're gonna have to challenge those. Because if you know they're going to, CEN is servicing them, then they're served.
Oh,
why would we
okay.
waste our energy doing that?
Yeah, so if CEN is doing that, it's one less thing for us.
But it's like, why are we spending we have such limited time? Why should we do that? Doesn't make
I
sense to me.
know, especially if CEN is gonna do it. It's like, but I
Yeah.
don't know, like you said, I don't know if CEN serves Kent Center.
Right,
They say they serve like all of the schools and all the libraries, but
okay.
so that would be very helpful, Eric, if you could deal
all
with that.
right,
Yeah, I think there's eight listed for Kent.
But that doesn't mean they're served by CEN.
Don't know. They're all listed as unserved. Doesn't
Yeah, I know.
tell me anything.
And
Yeah, I can't imagine Marvelwood or South Kent will get on those lists. It's just the laying that fiber would be really expensive.
Well,
but I don't, yeah, and I don't quite know how to handle that. It's like, well, they're listed. So South Kent is not listed as, they're listed as served. And they are served by charter as far as I know. But Marwood is listed as unserved.
Huh.
So if we let it go as unserved, that, if they're listed as unserved, we don't have to challenge it.
Well, I mean, I can tell you up there, I know Spectrum lines run up Skiff Mountain because I had Spectrum when I lived up there. So, and the school obviously has internet, so it's worth it. I can just call the CFO if you want.
well, just remember, I think for those locations, it's 1 gig symmetrical, right? That's served.
I don't know what that means.
Is sorry, very fast up and very fast down. Sorry, Sarah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I think those locations are supposed to be able to be served by, in other words, 1,000 megabytes up and down and with a low latency. Isn't that right, Lynn? Isn't that what they're?
Yeah,
serve
but,
means for.
I'm not sure that. Oh, yeah, it is a community. Oh, so, yeah.
So I can tell you right now that charter can't do that.
Okay.
So, but,
Impossible.
so if they're a community anchor institution and they're not being served by that higher speed.
They're
Oh,
under.
this is another wrinkle I need to ask questions about.
The way all of these KIs are listed is they show that they're served by the various suppliers, but they're listed as underserved, and I assume that's because they don't meet that high service level standard.
That makes sense.
But like, oh, that's great. My cat is killing a mouse right now. But like Marvelwood is weird because there's no provider listed. So, and South Canada isn't listed as a community
It's
Anchor.
not.
anchor institution. So like two of them are and one of them isn't. That's weird.
So we should, I mean, we can challenge that on their behalf, or are they going to challenge that?
I guess that's a question. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a question. Sarah, if you wanted to reach out to the person there that deals with their tech.
So you would like some speed tests from them and to find out who their service provider is? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they'd have to go through the process. But the thing is that because they're listed as a community anchor institution, it's like different, oh, and it looks like Kent Center is not listed as a, oh yeah, it is, okay. And it says no provider for Kent Center. Okay. Oh, just so much stuff. So anyway, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if they did ask the question about whether or not 10 more days would help. And I said, yeah. And the woman from CEN said, yeah, that would help. There
Right.
were like, the only other town that I recognized was Jill Drew from Sharon. And nobody else really spoke up saying they were from different towns on this last webinar. So it really makes me wonder how many towns are really involved in this?
How big is our competition?
Yeah, and I did ask that question. I said, what happens if you get a very low percentage of municipalities participating? Will you do another round? And they didn't think that they would be able to. But it's like,
Unfortunately, at the end of the day, participation doesn't guarantee us funding. It's really just what they end up.
Well,
with
yeah,
this.
I think what the comment was, it's not within the guidelines for a second round. Because it's not, there's no room within this 120-day timeline. So I don't think, from what my note said, that a second round would be possible. The 10 days is a possibility, but I don't think, based on what I
Understood.
yeah, but I mean, I can imagine the legislators and the governor thinking, well, if only 2 towns apply and I don't understand how a provider could apply. Like, why would providers be doing challenges?
Because they get the money.
Yeah,
They're gonna rebuke. I mean,
that's
I-
right. I would think.
they're not on this call, but it's in Charter's best interest for another service provider not funded to overbuild in Kent. In other words, they don't want somebody with the reach of Charter to compete with. So I think we will see rebuttals or rebutes, as they're calling them, from service providers. I don't think I don't think they can challenge, they have a limited number of things they can challenge themselves, I believe. It's pretty limited.
They said they were getting a lot, they were getting a lot of activity on the connectivity one from providers, which makes sense because they're the ones that can have the knowledge base to be able to do that. So.
Hmm.
All right. So I think we have another task of making sure we reach out to everybody who's a community anchor institution. I haven't really focused on that enough. So. Like another one is Morningstar. And
That's a community anchor institution?
Yep. It's listed on this as.
Okay,
So-
and they're supposed to have CEN or like
No,
five
they're supposed to be served. And it
served.
says they're. So it lists them as unserved. And they're eligible, it says. It says they're served by. They have the ability to be served by Charter and T-Mobile fixed wireless. I don't know. I'm gonna have to read through that. Have you read about the CAIs?
Yeah, so the definition, there's schools, libraries, health clinics and health centers and hospitals, public safety entities, institutions of higher education, any public housing organization, any formal community support organization, including adult education. Then there's specific community defined entities for Connecticut that Connecticut is recognized, like Connecticut Community Action Agencies, Connecticut Correctional Facilities, juvenile detention facilities, and homeless centers, and all local government organizations and senior centers. So it's a long list.
Yeah. So like the fire department is also listed.
Yeah.
And they're saying they're eligible, they're unserved.
And Sarah, the
there's
key
no
distinction
provider.
there is that the minimum standard of service is much higher.
Understood.
So, but it also sounds like that the fire department is eligible to get CEN. They had a little presentation about CEN before they got into the other stuff about BEAD today. So. Interesting stuff. Okay, well, I think what we need to do is we need to keep pressing forward with the area challenge and try to deal with these CAIs. Make sure that we talk to people from these different entities. But once again, if we don't think they're served by this high internet, then I think we just leave it alone as an unserved location.
I'm still challenged to understand why we challenge if they're served. I mean, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't help us to spend energy on that, to me.
Yeah. So,
Because the language talks about unserved and underserved. It doesn't speak about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And Lynn, are you super familiar and know that we've got all the right places located in that very broad list I just read? I mean, I really would have no clue personally as to whether all the right places are representative as Kai's.
Well, like I mentioned, one of the independent schools out of the 3 is not listed as a community anchor institution, which seems a little odd.
Yeah.
But like Morningstar would probably fall under that health category because they are a
Templeton,
nursing home.
the senior center, the fire department, the library, the town hall. I would think maybe even you could get away with the community house because that's a municipal building.
Ooh, that would be great to be able to get funding to get that done.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if High Watch as a sort of a large residential facility counts.
That's a good point.
Well, I don't understand. If there's a capability to have, for them to be served, but they still have to pay for the service, right?
Well, they might be eligible for funding
To pay for the service?
to get the minimum as a community.
The minimum, yeah.
Yeah,
But they would have to have access to those higher numbers.
can't remember what. I'll have to look that up. I can't remember what their address is.
High Watch?
Yeah, I know it's Carter Road, but there's nothing up here that's a community. A CAI. So. There is an unserved address in the Dugan Road though. Okay. All right. I don't want to take any more of you guys' time, but I think we've got some marching orders here. Got a plan.
So is there anything about the Connected Communities Grant Program or no?
Well, there's no way to meet the deadline to come up with a plan because none of the providers wanted to partner with us. So there's no way for us to do it within the timeline.
No chance.
If Spectrum had said yes, or Frontier had said, yes, we want to work with you, then it would be different, but neither of them wanted to, so.
Okay. And then
I think
task lists, I'll work with what we just went through. I'm just looking at the agenda. What we just went through. And then all I need for the minutes is our next meeting is next Wednesday.
Yep.
Hey, Len, I think
Then you'll
think-
get that updated set of instructions out to us as quickly as possible.
As quick as I can do it, yeah.
Look, I know you have a lot on your shoulders.
And then my other problem, I have a personal problem in that my computer is not working properly, so. And I think, yeah, we need to, once we get a couple of them done, we get the
try submission.
we need to start doing it because
Yeah, that's a great point.
if we can get things done before April 30th, they will review them and give us feedback and we can resubmit. But after April 30th, we're not going to be able to resubmit. So we
Hey,
want
Lynn, I'd go so far as to say, as soon as we have enough for a single challenge, we should
Yeah.
try one just to make sure that if they reject it for some reason we haven't anticipated, at least we'd learn what we're missing.
Right. So if you guys could make sure, everybody on this call, if you could make sure that you personally submit 3 screenshots plus your bill, 3 different days,
Yeah.
screenshots and your bill, that would be helpful because I know most of you have already done it at least once. So that would be good because then I could test. I mean, I probably can test on mine because I think I've gotten enough screenshots.
Well,
All righty. Well, thank you very much for all your efforts.
Okay.
And, did you have something you want to say, Ken?
No.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Anything else? Okay.
Okay.
thank you,
We'll
Lynn.
adjourn at 4:47. Thank
Have
you
a
all.
nice evening, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.